Well, welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. Today, I'm sitting down with Ryan Steele, who is the general partner at Architectural Tile and Stone. So excited to be sitting down, having some conversation, talking about this, crazy entrepreneurial business type journey that many of us are on. So, Ryan, thank you for taking the time. Why don't we just start with a little bit of background? Give us kind of the, I don't know, 10,000 foot view of who you are, like what your background is, and then tell us about the business.
Okay, so I graduated from Texas State University with an interior design degree. After that, I decided I wanted to go into commercial design. So I worked for Gensler, who is a worldwide architectural firm, and learned amazing things from the team there. And then had the opportunity from my father. He says, you can take over the business or I'm selling it. So I moved from Houston to Austin and started working for him for about 10 years. And so I am third generation in the tile business. So my grandfather founded a tile company and my father worked for him and then started his own. And 24 years later, here we are, architectural tile and stone. So he retired, my father did in December, and I took over officially. And yeah, I guess the rest is history. So I've been working officially as general partner since December, but have been on staff for about officially 10 years. I did start by grouting tile boards in high school, though. So came a
That
long way.
is that is so exciting, and
Yeah.
congratulations on being able to step into that role for this year and continue to grow and be a part of such a long legacy within business.
Yeah.
I always find it incredibly fun to talk to business owners who would have, they're in their parents' business or their grandfather started it.
Mhm.
While I'm not in, well, we're in a family business today, but my great grandfather, I think, started a moving company that my grandfather was working in. My dad worked into it, learned all the things not to do with working with family. And
Yeah.
now I work with my dad every single day, and it's, there's a lot of fun stuff with that. So, um, man, there's so much we could dive into. Let's,
Fortunately, having a good relationship with your family is a big part of it. So I
yeah,
have a great
yeah.
relationship with my father, so that makes it a little bit easier. I will say that my design sense is a little bit more edgy than my father. So bringing materials in, he's a bit more conservative, and I like to, see how far I can push things.
I love it. So let me, just ask about that. How do you kind of uh, push where you know you can push or where you knew
Mhm.
you could push, and then knew when to kind of back off and let maybe kind of experience take over. How did you kind of navigate those waters with the relationship?
Well, so at the beginning, I didn't really push back too much because I was learning. I came from architecture and design. So I knew what looked amazing and what looked great. But the stone business, it's kind of its own niche. And so the stones that are offered to us, that's what we have to choose from. So it's not until you start really pushing those boundaries that you can see what's out there. And so my father was bringing in a lot of white marbles, a lot of conservative materials, things that Austin, Texas is known for. And, when I came more into the position of doing more purchasing for the company and buying more of the beautiful slabs that we import from Italy and Brazil, I wanted to see, okay, let's design and fashion go hand in hand. So how can we make this as exciting as fashion is? So I've always been a fan of, Paris Fashion Week, what's happening in New York, some of the designs that are coming out of other parts of the world that we don't necessarily see. And I got so frustrated with it just being so mundane that I wanted to push the boundaries. And ever so slightly, I would say to my father, okay, well, what about this slab? And we joke and he would say, no, Ryan, too much, too much. I'm like, just give it a shot. And so we'd bring it in and it'd sell instantly. And I'm like, see, I'm onto something. So the more and more that started happening, and he realized it. And he was like, okay, well, let's bring in some of the more standard options that we've always had. And then let's bring in the other ones. So where we had to kind of blend those two is that we're known for quality and we're known for having just you can really go wrong if you work with the wrong vendors for stone. And so we wanted to work with people that we've had a relationship with for 20 years, and we wanted to maintain that quality aspect of our materials. So I had to blend the two, having the quality, but then trying out stones that we've never worked with before. So eventually he let go of the reins and said, Ryan, it's on you. You get to pick what you want. And if I make a mistake, I got to figure out what to do with it. But it's been a fun lesson and a fun learning process as we go through it. And fortunately, what's great about Austin is it's such a melting pot of so many different types of ideas coming from East and West Coast, specifically after COVID, that it's been really great to see all of the designers and the homeowners and architects that we work with in commercial as well take what my vision of combining fashion into stone, what is in, what is out, what is going to be the next thing, and being able to offer that to people in this city. And fortunately, it's worked that people in other cities have been looking at our stones as well. So yeah, it's exciting.
That is so cool. So I'm curious, especially over, this last, well, let's see, we're in October, so 10, 11 months or so as you kind of moved into the general partner role. How has your role shifted? I always like to ask, like, how many different hats do you get to wear in the business today? Which different departments do you get to really have your hands in?
Mhm.
Is it one? Is it multiple? Is it everything under the sun? What does that look like for you today? What roles do you get to play?
So I would say that the transition of the different hats that I started wearing happened probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I started inserting myself. One thing that we've really wanted to stay true to ourselves is we only have a location in Austin, and we have under 30 employees, from everyone from fabrication to installation to the sales staff and everybody in between. So we didn't open up another location outside of the city because we wanted to maintain the quality that I mentioned earlier. It's not just about the slabs that we're importing, it's the tile that we have, it's the fabrication of those stone slabs, and then also installing them. We wanted our team to be the best that they could be. And so all of, well, not all, but quite a few of employees from warehouse to fabrication to installation have been with us for 20 years. So we wanted everybody to kind of grow together and maintain that. Um, my hat is jumping into fabrication, seeing if there's a new profile that we could do. How can we work with the machines and our fabrication manager to match this profile? We don't necessarily want to tell a client no. We want to figure out if there's an option and how we can be on the cutting edge, no pun intended. For installation, we spearheaded some of the one piece tub deck, for example, and you say, well, what is that? That just means we're avoiding seams for stone that goes around a tub. We want it to be clean and everything design it should be. So installation, I jump to job sites quite often, and I'm talking to builders, trying to figure out how we can do something differently or how we can make it work with their project. And then you flip to the purchasing side of things. I'm very involved in the slabs, as I mentioned. I'm also looking for new products, new tiles to show on the walls. And so I usually call it my late night thing in front of Netflix. I'm looking for new tile lines everywhere from Instagram to overseas, and then things that people bring to me just to find something that no one else has. And then on the sales side of things, every one of our sales members has graduated from an interior design accredited university. So while I'm registered interior designer, and also LEED accredited for its leadership in energy and environmental design, the team here knows how to read plans, details, elevations to be able to navigate some of these really tricky projects that we have come across our desk. So the sales team, and I'm working with them consistently to show them all these new products and new slabs that I'm bringing in, but then touch on how can we help people in a different way to set us apart from somebody else. So I'm involved in everything. Yeah. Mhm.
Well, it definitely sounds exciting, and
Mhm.
they're from the way you just described it, it appears that there's some excitement and some passion around kind of each of those areas for the
Mhm.
overall direction of the business. I'm going to take a step back and just kind of ask, so you've kind of alluded to it a little bit so far, but who is your ideal customer? Like, who do you work with the most? The way I like to frame is, if I'm watching this later on, and in the audience, I'm watching this later on,
Mhm.
how do I know that I'm a really good fit to give y'all a call, or I might know somebody that I should connect y'all with?
Yep. So we work with all different types of clients. I have customers that work for commercial firms. And so sometimes it's just a cut to size stone that's going to go somewhere in the space, maybe a lobby floor, maybe the back walls of a Bank of America, for example.
Hmm.
So something that attracts attention and or is really useful. So that's the commercial side. Um, Residentially, we are mostly high end. It's just kind of the niche that we fell into. We do a lot of really complicated things with slabs on walls and floors and ceilings, stairs. It's a lot of tricky things, but because we're accredited by the Natural Stone Institute, we've gone through all of the training and processes to be able to know how to do something the right way and follow the book. So we kind of gear ourselves towards clients that maybe have a little bit more of a challenging design or concept. And that could be a homeowner, it could be a designer, and it could be an architect. Specifically speaking to the homeowners, we have so many beautiful tiles in our showroom. And sometimes we're not necessarily the fabricator that their builder works with. So I'm happy to show them and sell them slabs that we have in our yard that could, make their dreams come true. It's just, maybe it's in Austin, maybe it's outside. So as kind of a non-answer to your question, commercial, residential, builders, whatever's right for the project is going to be what we go for.
Very cool. So you
Mhm.
mentioned quality. You've got some longevity. Looking for things that nobody else has. I imagine there's a number of competitors in this space, especially here in the Austin market. Uh, Outside of those, what does that competitive landscape look like? How do you continue to differentiate or help your prospective customers and clients understand what makes you different?
So it seems maybe a few years ago, almost overnight, I don't know, 20 slab yards moved into town. I don't know what happened, but they all decided Austin was the place to be. And so, I was always wanting to bring in unique things, but sitting back and kind of watching all of these new companies come in, it's kind of a funny thing where you have to realize, okay, am I different enough? Are people still going to come to us? What's going to happen? Now, Austin, I believe, is big enough to have some competition. I think it keeps everything healthy. But at the same time, what sets us apart is there is not a company in Austin that brings in the marble that I bring in. Number one, they're not registered designers that know what's in fashion. Most times they're, no offense, some guys that don't necessarily know what to look for that is designed. There are some fantastic ones out there, but it's not the bulk of people. So these are we're bringing in things that you're just not going to find. When I found them at other yards, it's usually a year or two after I've brought them in. And
Mm.
that could be just the vendors that they work with and when they're offering them. But I see something in these products, whether it's tile or slab, that just I haven't seen before. And I think to be able to be a great designer is to be able to think outside the box and not just what people want, but push that envelope and see how far they can take it. I remember a story from my father back in the day where he said that he had a presentation at his showroom and a lot of designers came in and he asked them, why is everyone choosing beige? And he was kind of trying to get them to live a little, and he thought that he offended quite a few of them because at the time everybody wanted beige. It's kind of like a couple years ago everyone wanted white and gray for their home. So I decided to just gamble a little bit and say, let's do something wild and edgy and see what sticks. And it did. So I want to continue that with people. Until I see that the market's not buying it, then I might change my mind. But until then, people like to use materials, tile and stone, as a way to express themselves. And it's not just like a throw pillow that you can change out, but it could be architectural and it could be really great. Something to remember about all these products: the stones that we bring in, they're millions and millions of years old. So it's not that, just because fashion is in right now doesn't mean that that stone wasn't once fantastic 100 years ago. It's just, how do we use it today to bring in all of the design ideas that everybody has? So sorry if I got a little off topic there, but I get excited about some of these things.
No, I love it. I love the excitement that just comes out in the stories and the things that you're sharing.
Mhm.
So how let's talk just briefly about marketing. I always love to kind of bring up that topic in general. It's an area that it's vital to every business, but doesn't mean that every business owner is like really really good at it unless they have good background in marketing, that sort of thing. So I just like to ask some questions like what's worked, what hasn't worked for
Mhm.
different industries, that sort of thing. So for y'all, what has been the philosophy, or kind of how do you get that message out there? Is it primarily word of mouth? Do you use a lot of digital strategies from website to social platforms to things like that? Is it do you do anything like mailers or things like that? But what has worked for y'all in the industry, especially over the last handful of years?
So I would say for the first 20 years of our company, we did not pay for any marketing. It was 100% word of mouth. So all the more reason we got to do a good job, and we want to do the right thing, and we want to be honest with people, and not oversell something. Nothing is worse than that. So having a good end result on a project, we didn't necessarily ask for a Google review. It's just not what we've focused on. I would think the bulk of my clients probably don't write Google reviews. But so it was just purely word of mouth, and extremely thankful for all of those people all those years that kept coming back to us as they moved into a new house. So I would say probably for the last 4 5 years ish, we really took to Instagram.
Hmm.
Facebook has always been there, but it hasn't been like a huge following for us. Of course, there's posts, but something about Instagram and having those instant pictures right at your fingertips to be able to see something that could be, or there's a lot of renderings out there and there's a lot of fun pictures, and you're not bogged down with all the words. You can keep scrolling if you don't want to see them. And so what we found is that on our business account on Instagram, you can see how many people save the images or the videos and how many people share them. And so I started to notice this is really fun. It wasn't just like super helpful. It's just really fun to be able to share all these pictures. Now, a lot of my projects I cannot share photographs of for one reason or another. Sometimes they're getting published, sometimes there's an NDA involved, but I can share, working on them in the shop, and showing how the saw can cut different profiles. I can show the samples in the showroom when they get selected. And so it gives people all of these ideas of how to expand on their own projects. And one thing leads to another. I can promote slabs that have just left Italy and they're on their way to us. I just posted one a little while ago of a really great dark green quartzite that I've never seen before. So, and then a rendering showing what it would look like. And so it's a fantastic way for a designer, a homeowner, an architect, a builder, anybody, to be able to sit while they're, eating a snack or drinking their coffee and scroll and go, wow, that's a really fantastic picture. I bet my friend would like to see this. And then they share it. So Instagram has just been stellar, and really appreciative for them creating that app, to be honest. So, and working with people in Georgia right now on a tile that they saw on our Instagram. So you never know. Other than that, we are usually in the AIA home tour every year. We generally have more than one house. And so we sponsor that because, for one, it's our clients, and why not? And it's a good way to just see all the great houses that are going into Austin, not only from clients that we work with, but our friends, other fabricators in town too. So it's really cool to see what everybody is doing. So we sponsor the AIA home tour. And the team here has their own things that they're involved in that they like to participate in. So everyone goes their different directions and feels their way out to to their own clients. But generally speaking, I would say Instagram, the AIA home tour. Every now and then we're in some magazines. Half the time I don't know it, but I find them when they arrive on my desk. So that's really fun for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so cool. And I imagine the eye that you have and just the background in design for you and your team plays very well into, like Instagram as an example. It's a very visual platform. So it's really cool to see, that skill set being able to transfer over in, this type of an industry.
Mhm.
How about maybe on the flip side of it, anything that either you've tried in the past or the business has tried in the past, whether you were a part of it or not, that was,
Mhm.
marketing related that just didn't quite get off the ground, just kind of some lessons learned along the way?
I mean, there's people that are always asking to have you buy a magazine ad or something. For us, I don't know that magazines necessarily did it. I think people are moving more towards the digital age, that they're less flipping through a magazine unless they're at a nail salon or something like that where they have extra time on their hands. I find that digital and something that's quick and being able to answer easily is better. So I would say, if anything, we might have done a magazine, maybe one magazine in the ad in the past, and I never found anything came of it. So I do get asked a lot to do magazine ads, and unless it's a job specific one that we did that's just highlighting our work, then that I would be interested in. But otherwise, I haven't found necessarily that it's helped us.
Very
Mhm.
cool. I love the insight there. So let's fast forward. What, as you look towards the next 3 to 5 years, how do you see your role shifting as you continue to grow? Like, what does the business look like when you kind of put on your future forecasting, and like, what does the next 3 to 5 ish years look like for you in the business?
So I think my role is going to be very similar since I just somewhat entered it, but in formal words. But I think for us as a company, we're going to be covering a portion of our slab yard. So that means bringing in more unique marbles. So those that can find quartzite at all of those slab yards that I mentioned moved in overnight, there's a place for them. And I believe our place is more unique stones. So if I were to move into the future, it's going to be continuing to bring in good quality, unique stones. I'd like to see a little bit more commercial work that I would do, just since I have a background in commercial design. It's easy for me to navigate some of those projects, and I have some great friends out there that I'd love to partner with. And in general, I want to see our team grow. I have two sales staff right now that are taking the NCIDQ, which basically is their design exam, and I want to see where that takes them, and their confidence working with clients to be able to navigate some tricky conversations. So I think we're all moving up. It's just slightly different. So a little bit more commercial, some new great products, and then seeing how we can just continue to strive to do great work.
I love it. And I know you mentioned, over the history of the company, keeping it very, local here to the market to preserve that quality, things like that. Do you
Mhm.
foresee it being able to expand beyond that? Do you plan to kind of keep it still fairly local, keeping it to kind of one office, keeping the lower number of employees? What's your vision, kind of bigger picture, longer term?
To be able to do the type of detailed work that we do, I think it would be too hard to get too large. There's been times where uh, the work is there's 1,000 jobs one month and then two jobs the next month. So I have to be able to manage this kind of flow that we see. I don't see myself moving outside of Austin. I think staying here, I love Austin. I think I can branch out just by communication through this digital world to people outside of this city. I think that that's still a possibility without necessarily having to open up another location. Uh, I see that there's going to be probably the same number of staff. We, of course, always looking for great talent. So, I'll find a home for them if we've got the work. So, we want to see that everybody stays busy. It was really important to us during COVID that not a single person every single person had work. So we kept every single individual during that tough time. And we had slabs in our parking lot that we called drive-through slab viewings. So I feel for me, I don't want to take on too much more because I want to be, meaning expanding, because I want to be able to take care of all of the people that we've worked with for so long, not only employees, but customers as well. And so while I always welcome new clients, I think expanding beyond just Austin is probably going to be harder for me to maintain the quality.
I love it. I love the clarity on where the focus is and
Mhm.
staying true to the quality standards that you have.
Mhm.
Well, I know we've covered a ton of ground in this conversation. Absolutely love it. I want to be respectful of the time that we have here today. I've got a couple rapid fire questions. I'd love to just kind of start to wrap up the conversation. Just pull out a couple extra nuggets of wisdom for the audience here. So
Mhm.
we'll go through these fairly quickly. First one here, when you look at kind of your journey overall, the
Mhm.
past year, the past 10 years, beyond that, what would you say for you is your key to success?
Hmm. I don't stop trying. I'd like to say that my day ends at 5 p.m., but it doesn't. I'm online trying to figure out how to do something the best that I can possibly be, and I want to be as honest and helpful as I can.
Love that. If you could give just one piece of advice to other business owners out there, what piece of advice would you give them?
Breathe. It's there. I have this saying that the building's not on fire, and nothing is going to be as bad as it could be. So take a deep breath. In a few days, it'll get better, and just keep moving.
I love that. It reminds me, I had a early on mentor of mine that, you're in nonprofit work, things like that. And she always reminded me, we're not saving lives. It's
Yeah,
okay. Take a breath. Like it's all going to work out just fine. It's okay to, make mistakes like that. So I love that. I've written it down. I'm circling it. Breathe.
yeah,
That I'm taking that one to heart and
yeah.
we'll be sharing it on your behalf.
Mhm.
Um, what is one book that you would recommend to the audience? I like to frame this up with maybe, what's one book that you've read recently or you are currently reading, something like that that you would recommend? It does not have to be business related, but just in general that you'd recommend.
I hate to say, but the only anything I'm reading these days is my child's homework. So I'm up to my eyeballs in it. So she's a busy one. So I haven't read a book in a while. I do like to I get the Architectural Digest, and even though I said digital is king right now, I do love to flip through Architectural Digest because I feel inspired by what people are doing around the country.
Very cool. I love that. Um, all right, fun question. Kind of last of the rapid fire questions before we get to the final question that we'll wrap out on. And this one is just kind of fun. Um, when you look at your business, if you had to choose just one area and you only get to choose one that you can take a little bit of magic dust and sprinkle all over it and you wake up tomorrow and it's 10 times better than it is today, where would you choose to put that magic dust?
If I could put it in making slabs perfect, which I know they're like God made and millions of years old. But if I could eliminate all of the intricacies of pits and fissures and little things with slabs that I didn't have to explain to anyone else, I would sprinkle that dust all over it. Because then it would make slabs, easy.
I love the clarity that there was like no hesitation in the
Yeah.
answer on that one.
No.
So before we get to the question, I always like to end all of these conversations on, for those that are in the audience that are intrigued to learn more, that want to see some of the work that y'all are doing, that want to connect or reach out to y'all and talk to you about potentially doing a project down the road. Where
Mhm.
can we advise them to go for a little bit more information?
So our website, architecturaltilestone.com. Also, you can send an email to info@architecturaltilestone.com and then check out our Instagram. I'm usually the one answering messages, so that's going to be one of the fastest ways to get in touch with me. And we have a lot of fun pictures if you're just interested in looking at something interesting.
Fantastic. For those that are watching, I'll put all of that in the video description below. So make sure you take a moment here after we finish up. Go click on the links, send them an email. Right, I'll probably put your LinkedIn profile in there as well. So reach out, say, hey, saw you on the business spotlight. Great conversation. Just wanted to say hi. Connections are a big piece here in the Central Texas area. So with that, wrapping up the conversation, I always like to end on this final question here. But what is most inspiring to you today?
Number one, my kid, my family. Number two, I have a strong faith. And then number three, I like seeing people and things succeed. So I believe in happiness, and I believe in seeing that the glass is half full. So I want the same for everyone else.
I love that. Ryan, I want to say thank you again for taking the time to be here to share your story, share a bit about everything that you all are working on and the amazing passion that you have for what you do. It's truly been a pleasure, and I just want to say thank you.
All right. Thank you.